Hello, welcome to the introduction to the show. Welcome to the launch of A Bit Dodgy, Innit, with myself, Peter Renn, and
myself, Jason Hewlett. It's a very British sounding show, Peter.
Yes, it's very catchy in my eyes, anyway. But hopefully it will definitely take on, which I imagine it will be anyway. So, guys, welcome to the introduction to the show. Like I say, my name's Peter Renn. I've been a paranormal investigator now for 27 years. I've investigated in the UK, Australia, New Zealand. I'm the ex-president of the Vancouver Paranormal Society, which is the oldest research group in North America. I am an ex-director of TAPS, which is the co-tag of the actual TV show Ghost Hunters. I'm a documented investigator for an all-day nexus in Washington State. I'm a 3-time author with myself and Jason, and just recently a producer for the show We Want to Believe. I think that was it.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel so. Oh, no, co-creator of the Canadian Paranormal Society as well, more importantly as well.
Well, yeah, that's kind of our big gig right now, the big gig that you and I kind of do with our Canadian Paranormal Society. And I keep wanting to go back to what we originally called it, because we just recently changed to actual registered not-for-profit government society in the last little while.
Yeah, so we changed the format because originally we tried for the foundation, but unfortunately there's a lot of loopholes within the federal government in relation to becoming a registered foundation. So the better result was actually going for the Canadian Paranormal Society, which makes us government registered and obviously a lot more credible in relation to our research in the field, which is more important.
Exactly. We take our show on the road too, Pete, don't we? Doing presentations for people, different organizations as fundraisers for them. So, you know, we're not just a bunch of guys that hang out in spooky old places looking for Casper the Friendly Ghost. We do a little bit more.
Just running around screaming our asses off. But no, we do on the flip side of our society as well. We do a lot of fundraising for non-profit societies up and down BC. I've done a number of fundraisers for cancer research in the UK as well in relation to our field, more in the line of a methodology of what we do as paranormal investigators, that kind of thing, along with ghost tours, that kind of thing. The main endorsement on that is obviously get as much fun as we can for these non-profit societies, and it gives them a bit more exposure, but in the most positive, in a positive light, of course.
Yeah, so we're not just a bunch of selfish bastards, is what you're saying.
No. It's just like, thank you for the cheap thrill. I'm gonna head off into the sunset now. Goodbye.
Which there's many investigators out there who shall remain nameless.
Yes.
Myself, Jason Hewlett. I'm actually a former journalist. I'm a filmmaker, podcaster, former broadcaster, who's had a lifelong interest in the paranormal. I've been investigating ghosts, hauntings, and high strangeness now. Actually, it's officially 20 years, Peter, as of this recording, basically. It was 2003, February 2003. I did my first actual investigation. Didn't know what the hell I was doing. Didn't really know what the hell I was doing until actually I met Peter back in 2017. And I think the VPS had kind of a not fundraising, but like membership drive, Peter, around the fall of 2017, looking for new investigators. And I applied on a Saturday morning, hungover with too much coffee.
It was as you do, you make all the best decisions then, more than anything else. But no, it was at that particular time with Vancouver Paranormal Society, it was there was a lot. There's always an ongoing fluctuation of investigations with VPS, and it got to the stage where we were getting inquiries up and down British Columbia, where both me and Jason live, and I took it upon myself to kind of make a kind of a network of teams, both from the interior when I recently moved to Kamloops, BC, Obviously, the Vancouver Paranormal Society, which did the Lower Mainland, and I also had at that time a small group up in northern BC as well, which is great. But I found it very very challenging in the respect of it became more of a babysitting exercise than what it was actually enjoyment of the field and stuff like that. And that kind of was one of the reasons why I kind of left Vancouver Paranormal Society, and me and Jason just decided to create the Canadian Paranormal Society, which in essence it's a lot better for me because we could kind of pick and choose what we want to do. We're not out every weekend. I don't really have the energy for it anymore because we obviously have our own families and young families as well. So it's nice to have that balance in our lives more than anything else. And what we've done ourselves is kind of, rather than trying to accommodate for other people, we've gone up a couple of pegs in relation to what we actually enjoy, and we only approach things that, or accept things that we want to do, kind of thing, which is kind of nice. We don't get many residentials. We do have a few, which, obviously the residential cases are a priority over the public places, but I like the balance, and it's pretty easy. Hence why it gives us time to do podcasts such as this.
Well, exactly. And that's kind of like Pete and I have we do our kind of paranormal investigations and our research. But like he mentioned, we created a web series, actually an award-winning web series called We Want to Believe, that ran for more than 2 years on the Paranormal Network until it folded late last year, which of course is owned by Joe Blow Media. And we also did another show called Hunting the Haunted. And that kind of gave us, where we kind of looked at different popular hauntings and dissected them and talked about whether or not we thought they were fake or real. And when that kind of ended, it kind of left a bit of a void for us. We liked doing that. We liked sort of taking these cases that, and other stories that people really hold up in high esteem, and we like to kind of break them down and look at them. Because I think any investigator worth his or her salt, that's what they do. That you don't just accept things as being paranormal. You got to break down each sort of experience and look at it that way.
It was Hunting the Haunted was a great show, and we did get a lot of criticism because we said it how it was. I mean, there's a lot of people in the field that are legitimate, and that there are a lot of things, a lot of stories and stuff like that were, with obviously supporting evidence, are total frauds, and they're only out for one thing themselves, which, there's, abundance of things. There's people that do, ghost tours and charge money and for their own back pockets. There's psychics. There's, people that do really crappy TV shows as well, and then they go do like paracons, that kind of thing. It's just that there is a big fast to our field, but we like to draw that line and just say it how it is more than anything else, but obviously with presentable evidence, rather than us being the ones that are picking on particular individuals for no reason at all.
Yeah, we're not the schoolyard bullies here.
No.
We back up what we got. And we did that a lot, actually, in 3 books that Peter and I did co-write together. Of course, I Want to Believe, One Man's Journey into the Paranormal, which told your story, Peter.
Yeah.
I Want to Believe, An Investigator's Archive, where we kind of talked to, what was it, like 20 of our friends and colleagues in the field, everyone from like Kieran O'Keefe to Ken Gearhart to Seth Breedlove to our own, like Kelly Claire Burge, and, just sort of told their stories. And then our 3rd book, which I think was kind of in a way almost the most challenging to do, which was Dying Light. And that was an investigation into near-death experiences, which was quite interesting. So we're not just into the ghosts and the hauntings. We're into kind of everything from that to, the Sasquatch, to UFOs, to near-death experiences, to you name it. We like to look at it, and we like to determine if it's a bit dodgy in it. Hence the title of the show.
Pretty much. And just a quick plug about them. Those books are freely available at Amazon at the moment. So yeah, please check them out. And that'd be great. Yeah, quick plug there, kind of thing. But yeah,
we're hoping that those book sales will put our kids through college with the price of everything.
Yeah, right. Yes. So with our show, what we're looking at doing is that there are hundreds and hundreds of podcast shows out there with exactly the same content, where they talk to subject experts, and they get Barry, the ghost hunter in that's been doing it for 20 to 30 years, and they get everyone, you know, they tell their story and stuff like that, which is good for our show, and we are going to include that a little bit into it. But the kind of emphasis behind our show is we want to stretch it out a little bit. We want to cover all realms of the paranormal, much like my other show. It's not an all it's dust, and it will be this will be a kind of like what Jason's saying. We will do with case studies in relation to famous stories and famous urban myths and stuff like that. There's going to be a lot of we're going to have a lot of witnesses on the show as well to discuss firsthand their accounts of things that have gone on paranormal wise in their life, and obviously we're gonna have a few guests on where even myself and Jason have investigated over in the past to get their accounts of exactly what went on, and provide you guys with some credible evidence, what we deem as credible evidence of what went on as well. So that's kind of how it's going to evolve as we move forward, and we as the show moves on, we will probably you know, there will be some few live feeds as well on certain investigations that we will plug in as a part of the show. And we'd also include that on some of our investigation case studies as well. So kind of snippet footages of us running around in the dark, just saying, where did I put my flashlight?
or thinking we're funny by talking like Arnold Schwarzenegger when the spirit box is.
That's always a classic as well.
It never gets old. I mean,
no, it doesn't.
Not for us, anyways.
No, not at all. We're gonna also try. We're also gonna try out various some of the gadgets that are out as well. I am a big fan myself of making my own equipment at home. It saves an absolute small fortune in relation to what you can buy from ghost hunting stores. So I will share some of my methodology towards that, and it's a lot of the things that I've created are not stuff that you could buy in the stores, and there are reasons why I have certain things, certain sensors or certain lights and stuff like that. But I can go through that more as the series evolves.
And I think that'll be good. We want to kind of make this show like an overview of everything we're interested in about the paranormal and kind of the different facets of it. And the whole point, I think, because one thing that Peter and I do with all our investigations, because I think combined, we've been doing this for more than 50 years together. If you took all our years of experiences together, we want to kind of, if we can, demystify it and kind of take a bit of the fear out of it, because so much of what's out there, especially right now, because this stuff's popular, like really, really popular. And there's the Travel Channel isn't about travel shows anymore. It's ghost hunting shows of people going around investigating. And they very much, it's an entertainment. So they want to kind of give you a scare. But how many times have you been scared, Peter, in the 30-odd years you've been doing this? Like, I mean, legitimately terrified, well, present.
Not terrified. I'm not just saying that because I'm the big investigator that's been doing it all this time. I've been apprehensive in certain situations where, like, you've just had that gut feeling. I had it a few years ago in New Westminster in a famous hotel there, and I was apprehensive about walking into this one room, and it was pitch black, and it was darker than dark, that one room, and it's just things like that, and where certain things have occurred over the years as well, where that moment of evidence has come through, or that that one personal experience, and with a mixture of both curiosity, adrenaline, and maybe a little bit of fear as well. I kind of go into like hyper mode where I'm just like, I want to see it, I want to feel it, I want to make it tangible and stuff like that. And at the same time as well, it does have the adverse effect where I'm kind of, okay, I need to take a step back and go outside and just conserve, just go through my head exactly what went on, because it is paranormal and it doesn't happen every day. And regardlessly whether people tell you that they see ghosts everywhere and stuff like that, and they see dead people like in the movie Sixth Sense, it's still, as far as I'm concerned, a shock to the system. And even doing it all of this time, that personal experience that happens to me, that thing I see or that thing I hear as an EVP or anything like that, I get excited, and that's when your blood starts pumping through your body, and it could go either way, kind of thing.
You know, and it's funny that you mentioned that EVP, because I was thinking back to an investigation we did before Christmas. When we were upstairs in a townhouse, and Pete had gone down a little bit, and you asked the question, like, you know, are you on the stairs? And this voice that you could hear, we both heard it, even though we were about 10 feet apart. This creepy old man voice just goes, bingo. And we nearly shit our pants, but it was so exciting. Like, it was just,
I know, it was exciting more than anything else. And there was a lot of F's and C's and stuff like that. Generally, when I get excited, I go very British at that point. So
you're from Croydon, so you guys just have
that's it.
vernacular.
I'm surprised I don't smash the place up. No, I'm kidding.
This is wild break stuff.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
But those are the big moments as an investigator. You don't see people like getting thrown across rooms or anything like that, or crosses turning upside down on their own by the dozen.
Yeah,
it's little things like that happen, and I think that's what's not really being projected out there, and most people aren't experiencing that side of it. Those other big things that you see on TV, they might happen, but it's like, you know, once in 50 years something that big goes down.
It does, and I'll be honest with you. With my personal experiences, I can count on one hand the tangible experiences I've had over the years, like the ones where you can physically, you can quantify it with both myself and multiple witnesses and stuff like that. Like the evidence as well, like a lot of evidence is up for criticism because, you know, there's Photoshop, you can do almost anything, and you can do almost anything now with technology to manipulate, to make an EVP. You can just sit in a room and just lower your voice and say, "Hi, I'm your Fred. I'm Uncle Fred," that kind of thing. There's a lot of distrust in our field, and we just break it down and try and keep it simple in relation to what we do, our kind of methodology of investigating as well. And that's why, you know, when we investigate, we have equipment that we are able to have an understanding of why it could potentially be a false positive reading. We don't have, we don't have like the ovuluses or anything like that. We have we have temperature because we're aware of the variables and control the environment at that particular time. We have voice recorders, standard voice recorders, and modified cameras because it's the basic principles of what we do. And it just helps us if once we do get that piece of evidence, it's more quantifiable to the client that piece of evidence is unexplainable to us because I will know what, if there was a glare on my camera or stuff like that, because some of my cameras have been modified as well. I will know all the characteristics why, how it could be something normal or mechanical or whatever on that piece of evidence. So.
Well, I think that's something that as it comes up, you'll see through the course of this podcast that Pete and I like to follow the keep it simple, stupid method because there's less chances of things being faked or us being duped by something. Those SLS cameras, that show the little stick men running around and everybody on the go shows, oh my God, there's a spirit there. Well, no, it's a gaming device and it's designed to make shapes like that out of something. So you're automatically at a disadvantage if you're just relying on that as your means of, oh, there's Casper down at the end of the hallway.
It is, and it's a good idea. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the paranormal. What was the name of the movie? Paranormal
Activity.
Activity.
Like I kept 3 or 4.
The other show then. Paranormal Activity. It's a good idea for a concept for a ghost tool, but it's almost as if you need to kind of strip it down to its geofunctions before you can even consider anything on that being actual evidence itself.
I hear ghosts hovering in your background right now, Pete.
No, no.
So yeah, that's the breakdown of kind of where this show's at. And like in the coming weeks, I mean, next week, actually, we are going to dissect everyone's favorite ghost hunting duo, Ed and Lorraine Warren. We're going to take a stab at the Conjuring House. We're going to tackle the Patterson-Gimlin film. We're going to bring on guests like Shane Cashman, who's a paranormal author and podcaster. We've got a whole lineup of people. We've got a few of our own investigations, like Pete mentioned locally, some that we will be able to provide evidence for, but we can't tell you where we were sometimes because it's residential homes and with confidentiality. But we'll break down some of our public ones too, like at Bailey House in Merritt, British Columbia. So we got a whole bunch of cool stuff lined up for you. And this is like every 2 weeks. And in the weeks that you don't get us a bit dodgy in it, we're going to be running episodes of another podcast of Pete's, which is, of course, it's not an orb, it's dust. And that's a little, why do you call it that, Peter? Now I know why you call it that, but there's a real relevance to the orb dust controversy here, that why you call that show that.
It kind of runs parallel with whenever you go to these public presentations and stuff like that. A lot of people go, "Oh, I've got a picture to show you," and it's always a picture of an orb and stuff like that. And the natural reaction to, and I'm going to use my words carefully because I don't want to get like blackballed straight away before even our show launches. But the conception of orbs in some religions and some cultures are the fact that they are a manifestation of energy related to the paranormal, which I can fully understand. But there's also the skeptics that lean heavily on the fact that anything that is caught on a camera can be replicated through just patting a cushion, throwing dust up in, throwing some mud up in the air out in the garden, stuff like that. So all of those orb pictures can be replicated. So a common terminology amongst the paranormal investigators it's not an orb, it's dust. And that's what I decided to have on my show as a kind of a head turning point. And that is also available on the I Want to Believe channel, the YouTube channel, where this is going to be also a bit dodgy in it. It's going to be shared and aired as well.
Yeah, that's kind of, we of course have got on the YouTube bandwagon, even though the YouTube algorithm seems to hate anything with paranormal content these days. Screw you, YouTube algorithm. That's my little shot after running a paranormal content YouTube channel for 2 years and fighting with that.
just save that for the bottle of whiskey tonight, Jay.
Right, exactly. I'm not bitter at all.
No.
So there you have it, folks. That's basically the rundown of who we are and what. Okay, we haven't quite said why us. We've kind of given you our credentials, but why would people prefer us as their paranormal podcast of choice? Why listen to our opinions?
Generally, I can't. Obviously, there's the vast majority of the audience that follow these ghost hunting shows and stuff like that. A lot of them are kind of, they follow the famous shows and the famous TV celebrities that do paranormal investigating, and to a degree, I kind of respect that because they're TV and they open a light to what we do in the field as well, which is duly respected. I myself have had that opportunity over the years with obviously being a part of TAPS as well. Didn't really want that because it's almost as if you got famous for the wrong reasons in the field, and kind of some TV shows drag. If they were to televise a typical paranormal investigation, it would be very boring for TV. So there is always that element of Hollywood that goes into the shows. So with why would you want to pick us is because the fact being is that we're trying to make this different, this show, in relation to all the other shows, the paranormal shows. We're trying to add different content and stuff that will be legitimately stuff that you're interested in as well. We do say it how it is, and obviously have an eye for things that are logical as well. And we're trying to spread the show as a point of covering all realms of the paranormal as well.
No, I agree. We do come into this. We are both, Peter and I are both skeptics. Really, even though we've had experiences we can't explain, we still remain very skeptical. We don't. Everything is it is Casper the Friendly Ghost. Do you know what I mean? Like even if we have something happen on an investigation. Here's a prime example I want to give. When we were at Bailey House, it was actually the first investigation Peter and I ever did, and we actually got legitimate EVPs already that night. So we're already pretty excited here at Bailey House. And Bailey House is quite a is location with a lot of history. Then we were in like the kids' room, and there's nothing but creepy dolls there, so it automatically sets your nerves. We did actually have a little toy hammer come off of the shelf, so that was pretty cool. But then I remember hearing it was like the very stereotypical Scooby-Doo ghost sound, like a ooh. And I was like, holy Pete, did you hear that? And you're like, what? I just heard, like, it was like a ghost moan, like literally like a ghost moan. Like, no way. So you stood there, and then it happened again, like, ooh, and you actually tagged it on your digital recorder, because you can do that, and you listened back to it, and your eyes went wide. I would never forget. And you're like, that was like right next to me. And I'm like, I know, right? And then it was like, ooh. It was like, okay, that was like 3 times in a row. Something's up. And we started really breaking the room apart, like not really breaking the room apart, but figured out what could cause this sound.
Took a hammer to the wall.
As it persisted. And it was February. It was a cold snap. There was a hairline crack in the glass. And as the wind blew against the glass, it created the woo sound.
It was very typical Peter Sellers kind of movie, where it
was
ghosts and goblins and that kind of thing.
But it was like, at first, because we had good activity, we were pretty excited. But yeah, it's a real investigator will break down every little thing that happened on an investigation to get to the base facts. Because not everything that happens, just because you've had some paranormal, doesn't mean everything's paranormal. And that's why you want to listen to us, because that's what we do all the time as investigators. Because some of it is a bit dodgy.
Yes, Peter. It's totally dodgy, innit? Okay, well, that, I believe, wraps up our introduction for the show. And we do have some other forums where you can follow us. We have the Canadian Paranormal Society Facebook page, which is on Facebook, obviously. And we have the I Want to Believe YouTube channel, where you can also follow us on that as well. We don't particularly have any other forums apart from, obviously, the podcast network that you're listening from this at the moment. And we'll let you know if anything changes in the near future.
Exactly. We're not going to, we have our own kind of personal, like, Facebook accounts and YouTube and Instagram accounts as well. We do not TikTok. We do not Snapchat. So no, this is the best place to keep up with us. Your favorite podcast platform, the Canadian Paranormal Society page, or the I Want to Believe YouTube channel.
Perfect.
And we will be back in 2 weeks, right, Peter?
Yes, we will. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to our introduction, and stay spooky.